All right, I'm going to do a couple of different little videos I'm going to combine into this this next one. I'm going to try a couple of different things that I've been sort of experimenting with. The first one is going to be a different method of casting on using this standard knitting weight and a little piece of yarn. I'm going to try and cast on just using these two things. All right, so first we'll push out the number of needles that we want to cast onto, and it's going to be the number of forks here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plus 1. So we want nine needles, like so. And we want to make sure that want them to all be open. All right. All right, first thing we're going to do, take a piece of tape, and we're going to yarn end. This is looks like about 2.5, 3 feet long. We're going to tape it to the weight, and then we're going to hook around each needle and then come back down and catch this little spike here. We do that for each of these 9 needles. All right. All right. Now come down to the end, and then we're going to tape. Now that we got all of these here, we're just going to tape this end off. Okay, so using this piece of tape, I'm just going to tape it similar to how we did the first one. All right, then we're going to put these into the knitting position. We're going to push these other ones back into the non-knitting position. Actually, we can push that back a little bit further. Okay, now let's see if we can cast on to that. All right, we're going to use this yarn. This is DK number 3. All right, this is our carriage. I'm going to run it through the thread holder. All right, we're going to tape this to the end there just to hold it. Just to hold it temporarily. All right, let's drag it across. All right. We just want that one to catch right there. And then we're going to pull it through. All right, looks like that one didn't catch. All right, so we missed a couple. Let's try it again. Okay, I've reset this. I'm going to push these all the way back so that they're behind the stripper bar here. All right, we're going to try it again. Drag this across, drag the carriage across. Make sure that first one catches, which it did. And then just gradually pull these all across. All right. It looks like this time we got most of them. We missed this one. All right, so we're just going to do this one by hand. All right. All right, so not bad, not bad. And that was a lot easier than our previous method of trying to use the cast-on rag. All right, I'm going to do a couple more courses of that. Okay, so I did 4 courses of that. Now I'm going to try, let's try adding a stitch. So let's try and, what happens if we throw an extra, let's see, let's open that up, okay. All right, and I'm going to try adding a stitch by manually moving this one over to that one and this one over to that one, and let's see what happens. Okay, so let's get this one off. We're using a just an upholstery needle. Let's move that onto here. Okay, and making sure that one's open. Do the same thing here. Move this over to this guy. Alright, and these are open. Alright, we're going to put those back in the knitting position. Alright, let's give that a try. Okay, so we've got a stitch there. It's grabbed the yarn there. And stitch there, and it's grabbed the yarn there. Okay, now let's come back the other way. Okay, and now it's made the stitch on top of that. Alright, we've got the equivalent of like a mesh hole here and a mesh hole there. Alright, but we have actually widened our stitches out. Alright, let's do one more course and then try it again. Alright, we'll do a couple more courses. Alright, this time we're going to add a stitch, but I'm going to try a slightly different method. Okay, for this method, let's see what happens if we move this stitch, but we have it span both needles. Let's see what happens if we do that. Oops, not quite. Those are both open, and let's make this one span this needle here. Okay, let's see what that does. All right. Okay, it's made a stitch, but we've still got it on both needles, which is not what we wanted. Let's go back the other way and see what we get. Okay, it's still on both needles. Alright, so that's not really what we want. Let's try it the way we did before. We'll take it off this needle. I'll just put it on that one. Okay. Same thing here. Okay, this should be the equivalent of what we did previously. So we want that to be open. We want this one to be open. All right, let's try that. All right, so let's capture the thread there. This one didn't quite capture, so let's get that back. Okay. All right, we'll come back the other way. Oops. Oops, we lost a stitch there. All right, we lost the stitch over here, but let's see if we keep going. See if it'll catch it this time. back. Okay, so now we're making stitches across all of these. Let's do a couple more. And back. All right, I'm gonna do a couple more courses and then we'll try decreasing stitches. So let's do a couple more of these. All right, now let's try decreasing by moving the outside stitch to the inside. Okay, again, we're going to use this embroidery needle. Going to open these up. All right, and we're going to grab that stitch and put it over here. Okay, and then we're moving that one to the non-stitch position. And we do the same over here on this side. And put it onto this needle. Oops. Okay. All right, let's give that a try. All right, we've reduced the needles, courses, and we'll come back, try and knit another course here. All right, come back. Okay, so we did a reduction there. All right, let's try one more reduction again. All right, we're going to try another reduction here. Try and grab this needle or this loop and put it onto here. Okay, same over here. Grab this one. We want to put it over here. All right, so then we move these two back to the non-knitting position. And then we're going to run it across. All right, we got good stitches. One more back. Okay, now we're back to our original 9. So let's go back, let's stick it in one more. Okay, so we're at 9, let's go to 7. So we're going to grab this, our upholstery needle, and put it over to here. All right, same thing here. Grab that, and then put it onto there. Okay, let me move these back to non-knitting position. All right, let's pull the carriage across. All right. Okay, so we successfully did another reduction. All right, so with this, we've tested this new cast-on method, just using the weight with some yarn, and then we've tested expanding, adding stitches, and then subtracting stitches. All right, let me go on to the next thing. All right, thank you for watching.